I'm feeling angry with my family because they're not making an effort to spend time with my 11-month-old baby girl. I think they should be more interested in getting to know her and being a part of her life, but they're not. I feel like they're missing out on special moments, and I'm left feeling frustrated and hurt. Am I overreacting, or is my anger justified? I have two beautiful daughters. My older one is 8 years old and typical, while my younger one is 13 months old and was born with Down syndrome trisomy 21. My relationship with my mom is complicated. We love and hate each other at the same time. Despite our issues, I've always tried to involve her in my kids' lives. However, she's only met my baby twice. I also have 4 siblings, and while I don't talk to 2 of them due to past conflicts, I've always gotten along with my 2 younger siblings. Or so I thought. What hurts me the most is that none of my siblings have even bothered to meet my baby daughter yet. I've talked to my siblings several times about how I feel, and I've told them how hurtful it is that they haven't made an effort to meet my baby daughter. But they just seem to think it's my job to bring her to them, like I'm responsible for making it happen. They say it's a two-way street, but I think if they really wanted to meet her, they would make the effort to come to me. It feels like they're putting the burden on me, and it's not fair. My baby daughter's first birthday is coming up soon, and I invited my siblings and mom to join us. But they all told me they're not sure if they can make it. I was really hoping they would come, but since they're not committed to attending, I've decided to cancel the party altogether. I don't want to spend a lot of money and effort on a celebration if they're not going to bother showing up. It feels like they're not prioritizing our relationship or their relationship with my daughter, and it's the thing that really gets me is that they all live just 40 minutes away in the next town over. I mean, it's not like they're far away. My dad, on the other hand, lives 2.5 hours away, and yet he's made the effort to come visit my kids multiple times. If he can do it, why can't they? It feels like they're not making my kids a priority. And what's even more hurtful is that both of my siblings who I get along with have started new families with partners who have kids, and they're always going on about how much they love those kids. But they can't even be bothered to meet my daughter, their own flesh and blood. It feels like they're choosing their new families over us, and it hurts. I'm so angry and hurt that my siblings haven't bothered to meet their new baby niece or attend her party. Deep down, I wonder if they're ashamed of her because she has Down syndrome. It feels like they're treating her differently because of her condition. I'm seriously considering cutting them out of our lives completely because it's too painful to see them ignore my baby girl. They had no problem meeting and being part of my 10-year-old daughter's life, even visiting her in the hospital when she was born. But they're not giving my baby girl the same love and acceptance. Am I the asshole for feeling this way and considering distancing myself from them? Story 2. I'm wondering if I was wrong to tell my parents they ruined our New Year celebration. They kicked my husband out of the house over a joke, and I'm still upset about it. I feel like they overreacted and spoiled the special night for everyone. I've been married to my second husband, Mike, for 4 years now. Mike loves to tell jokes and make people laugh. He especially enjoys joking around with my brother Ethan and his wife. For a while, Ethan was okay with Mike's jokes, but eventually he started complaining that Mike was taking things too far and being offensive. There's something important to know about my brother Ethan. He and his wife couldn't have biological children, so they adopted a sweet boy named Joey 2 years ago. Mike has been making playful jokes about Joey's biological parents, just to tease Ethan and his wife. I've already talked to Mike about it, and I can assure you that he doesn't mean any harm. He was just trying to get a rise out of them, not realizing how sensitive the topic might be. So we fast forward to New Year's Eve. My parents hosted a big dinner party, and Ethan and his wife joined us. During dinner, Mike decided to tell a knock-knock joke to Ethan. He said, "Knock, knock." And Ethan laughed and asked, "Who's there?" Mike replied. "Joey's biological parents," and burst out laughing. But the room suddenly became silent and Ethan's face changed. His wife called Mike an idiot and Mike responded with, "Hey, relax, it was just a joke." The tension was palpable. Things escalated into an argument and we had to stop dinner. My parents suddenly told Mike to leave, which I thought was an overreaction. I tried to intervene and calm them down, but my mom insisted that Mike had to go. We left and Mike was upset, saying they had overreacted. Later, I called my mom to talk about what happened, and she said Mike's jokes were hurtful and insensitive, especially about a sensitive topic like Joey's adoption. She told me I was wrong to defend Mike and dismiss his jokes as harmless. She thought I should have taken her and Ethan's side instead. My mom said Mike had ruined the New Year's celebration for the family, but I disagreed. I told her that she and Dad were the ones who had ruined it by escalating the situation and kicking Mike out. I suggested that Mike could have just talked to them and worked things out, but again, they were the ones who chose to ruin the celebration. My mom called me delusional for thinking this way and hung up the phone on me. Here's the rewritten version of the final part in the first person, using simple and familiar language. It's been days since we last spoke to my parents. I tried reaching out to my brother Ethan, but he hasn't responded yet. The situation has left me feeling hurt and frustrated. I'm wondering if I was wrong to stand up for Mike and if my family is too proud to apologize and move forward. I'm unsure of how to repair our relationships and move past this difficult moment. Story 3. My name is Heman. A few years ago, my husband John and I were asked to join a trip with our former daughter-in-law and her 4 teenage kids. She was a little worried about traveling alone with the kids, so she invited us to come along. The trip was to a foreign country for 3 weeks with 4 different destinations. We thought about it for a bit and then decided to join them. I was excited to spend time with our grandkids, so we packed our bags and went along. We paid for our own flights and accommodation, but we split some of the expenses like renting a car and eating at restaurants. So, we shared some costs, but we each paid for our own travel and lodging. Our son was very upset and felt betrayed. He said we had turned our backs on him by going on the trip with his ex-wife and that we didn't support him at all. That's all. I just wanted to add that we had an amazing time on the trip, and it was wonderful to spend time with our grandsons. Also, I want to mention that my husband and I have always gotten along well with our former daughter-in-law. Story 4. I was driving out in the boonies and I saw a man towing a late 80s Honda with another late 80s Honda. Now, this wasn't such an odd thing to see in the area. If you couldn't afford the tow truck, you just got a buddy, some rope, and another car. As long as you always brake carefully and slowly, the guy behind could also brake, and the bumpers would only touch a bit. There would be some scratches, but nothing you couldn't live with. This man was doing this task solo though. Also not unheard of, but it just requires even more caution with braking. Brake slightly so the car behind you contacts the bumper, and then slowly apply the brakes even more. I'm not sure how long the man had been doing this for, but he was going about 45 mph, so he must have been pretty confident in his abilities. However, when the deer leaped out into the road, his reflexes took over and he slammed on the brakes, leaving the second car to slam into his first car. He was fine and missed the deer, but both cars were totaled.